And let's all welcome Tara to the stream. Hello, Tara. How's it going?
Oh, good.
Okay. And hmm, things are just acting weird today. So, as far as my stream, got a white border there. Usually it fills the whole screen right there. So let me get this here to the side and tell us a little bit about yourself and about your writing.
Um, gosh. Uh,
Take your time.
I'm the person. um, I've always liked writing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yes. Like my mum found, like when I was in year 12, she found this story I'd written about Snow White and the Red Rose that I'd written in like year 2 or something,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a tiny page and something about a random rose that was broken.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, um, yeah, like I've always loved stories. Um, I'd always written bits of things here and there, but I sort of didn't allow myself to write until the end of or start of last year,
Okay.
which is interesting because then I've actually like I feel like I've it's been really cool since then.
Well, good,
um,
good. Everybody has to have their own starting place.
yeah, it's like things like because it became more than just writing words on paper. Um, through that, I found out there was such a thing as writing conferences,
Mm-hmm.
writers on Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, all sorts of the community on Twitch and Discord and everywhere else. It's like, oh
Mm-hmm.
wow, these are things you can do with writing.
And
Um,
YouTube, and believe it or not, I was surprised. A friend of mine, another Twitch writer, is up on Reddit. Believe it or not, I
mm,
never thought that would ever be a place for writers as far as actually streaming about their writing and so forth. But yeah, there's a huge community here.
mm,
I mean, if you need assistance to starting your own stream on Twitch, I'm here for you. Believe it or not, it's a badge of honor for me. I tell everybody I'm doing everything off of Windows 7. Yeah, try to keep a sense of humor about things and so forth. So, tell us what kind of genres you like to write about and read about,
uh,
and
fantasy.
there you
No
go.
matter what I start writing, it ends up turning into fantasy.
Nothing wrong
um,
there.
yeah, so I do enjoy fantasy. I also enjoy reading a bit of sci-fi every so often and bits of all sorts of things.
Any favorite titles that you like?
Uh, I don't even know. Everything just kind of merges together.
Okay.
All great stories. Um, no, but I guess I do like Brandon Sanderson.
Oh, Mistborn. There you go.
No, I don't think it was that one. I say like, and I've read like one and a half of his books, and I got really annoyed at the main character, and so I paused it.
Uh oh. Yeah,
I'm
I've
sort of meaning to finish reading it.
read a few of his. I got the Mathematician's more of a mid grade novel, um, or the Arithmetist,
Oh,
and
The Way
then
of Kings. That was the one I was
oh,
reading.
okay, okay. But I really love Mistborn. I'm actually up into book 3 right now, so no spoilers, please.
Yeah, no, I haven't read that one yet. My cousin keeps telling me about it,
Mhm.
so I'm planning to read it eventually. That's on
Um,
my long list of eventually.
I never did get a chance to read The Wheel of Time, but he actually picks up on Brandon Sanderson picks up on book 4 and takes over the
Yeah,
series. So, um,
yeah.
but The Wheel of Time was pretty decent as far as the TV. I started reading the book, but of course, other things get in your way, life and so forth.
Yeah, I
But
haven't
yeah,
read it, but I just finished watching the series yesterday.
so let me throw up onto the screen right here. To the side right here, if you can look up on StreamYards right here. Oop, wait a minute. It's got both of this there. That's different. Let's put it to the side here. That's better. And rearrange change some things so we can see the logos and what. But I'm very this is the first time. I mean, I've heard of Wattpad, but I've never used it. So can you talk a little about that?
I honestly can't remember how I found it, but maybe someone told me about it. But yeah, it's just a lot of, like you can go find all sorts of stories on there, or you can write stuff. And I just found it really easy to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, because it just allowed me to, just write something and put it out there. Whilst reading a lot of other people's things, which was cool because it's like, I just wanted to try the idea of a web novel.
Mm-hmm.
And because I know some people write them and like they'll write like a chapter every week or month or something, and I'm like, I think I've got like one chapter out and my thing's been up there for quite a while.
Well, good.
Oh,
So how many?
I'm lucky if I get a chapter a year out, but
No, I mean you're developing your own style, your own process. I mean, it's another thing that I like to talk about on script studies, your process. I mean, for me, I have to do at least my first draft on writing it down first because I've tried using the keyboard and my thoughts go so fast I can't type that fast. So it helps me slow my thoughts down so I can actually focus better. If that makes sense. So tell us a little bit about the Adventures of a Magical Teacher. I love the title, by the way.
thank you. Um, yeah, I wanted to get across. I was like, it's fantasy and it's about a teacher in a
Mm-hmm.
school. Um, so the idea is it's a world that I named Turian.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's mostly a continent and the sea around it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 6 major races. So there's humans, mermaids, fairies, elves, beast people, and there's another one. Nymphs, naiads, and
Okay.
strides, nymphs. Um, yeah, so they're kind of all separate. They live in separate areas, and so
Mm-hmm.
uh, basically, which is kind of in the prologue, that
Okay.
it's not exactly written in the prologue. It's kind of from her perspective, and she's not in the incident. Um,
Did you do
but the
this draw?
story with
Did you do this drawing right here?
my sister did.
Oh, nice.
I told her, and she sketched that, and then I colored it in.
That's nice of her. Continue.
Yeah. So, yeah. So the idea is, humans, a group of humans, took some fairies and killed them, trying to extract their magic. In the process, one of the boys, because they also tried to kidnap a whole bunch of orphans and
Mm-hmm.
try and put the magic inside of them, but that didn't work. But one of the boys, who wasn't actually an orphan, who was just friends with them, um, is the best friend of my teacher. And this is when they're like in kindergarten. And so he ends
Mm-hmm.
up, he escapes from the place and causing a big explosion, which means everyone can find it, knows what happened. And he somehow stops, basically asks the council not to eradicate humans. And then he then serves the council for the rest of his life. Um, and so the main character, Magenta, all she ever wants to do is be a teacher, but
Mm-hmm.
she is half fairy, half human. So she has random powers that no
Mm-hmm.
one else has. So she has the powers to be a hero, but she doesn't want to be. She just wants to be a
Ah,
teacher.
gotcha.
So he's always trying to rope her in, and she's saying no, she wants to be a teacher. And so the story starts where he gives her a class of. So teachers basically only in the human cities, and you'd expect to have a human class. So he gives
Okay.
her a class of kids from all of the races. and it's the first interracial classroom that's projected to go to the first interracial research team. And basically, it's like a trying to stop any incident from the fairy kidnap killings happening again.
So it's kind of as far as interracial, as far as like humans and fairies and other mystical power type people.
Yeah. So they're all. She's trying to teach them a lot of the human knowledge, but they're also trying to all hide inside a human school and try and pretend to be human.
Nice.
Which doesn't work from the get-go.
So if it's not too much of a spoiler, how do you humans obtain magic?
So everyone thinks that humans don't have magic, but they actually do.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of like the cockroaches of the world in the fact that, like in our word called cockroaches, they sort of eat all the bits that no one else can eat in nature, and they're part of the nitrogen cycle and that kind of stuff. So humans, their magic is sort of to analyze and break down things and then sort of put it back together. So kind of like breaks things down, put it back, so it keeps the magic sort of pure, I guess. Which I'm sort of still working on as I'm writing the story.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
But yeah, so they do have magic. It's not like they don't make wind or move water kind of thing. It's a much more indirect.
Is it more alchemy or spells or?
So it's going to end up, at least to start with, the main uses of it are there's a disease that happens to mixed children. It doesn't happen to all of them, but often if you have a mix of two races, they'll often get a certain disease. And so my teacher, because she is also a synesthete, so she sees the magic. Like fairies can often feel different magics and stuff, but she can actually see it, and she sees it in different colors. So she can see the human magic, and as she watches that interact with other things, like there's a cyborg in her class and a kid who's quarter, so she's got 4 different races. She's a mix of 4 races, and then there's a few other kids that are like half human. And as she watches their magics interact within each other, she's able to see how the human's magic can be utilized to like cure this certain disease and similar things like that. Where it starts with, yeah.
Sounds like you got a good start of a novel there. Very, very nice. Yeah. So tell us, as far as what you've learned so far as your writing process, of what works for you.
So one thing I find it so random, but I used to think that I was a plotter. And then when I actually looked at myself, I realized I'm very much not. Very much pantser all the way for that first draft. Which I think is why I love NaNoWriMo so much, because it just very much is like, and I've learned like I need to have that first draft is just messy. And so like I will type parts of it, I will have parts of it written on the page, so it's not even like my thoughts come out messy, it comes out everywhere. But that's okay. It's like I know I need to get it out. And it's like that quote about the you're just putting all the sand in the box so you can make a castle later.
Oh, nice. I never heard of that one. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I feel that very much sums up what I do. So it's like I do a lot of just, okay, I need to just dump a whole bunch of stuff. Let it sit for a minute and then come back, and then it's like, oh, okay, yes, this is actually, these are the things I like, or this is what I want to explore more, or this is,
let it marinate.
I need to go research these things and fix that. And
yeah, the last NaNoWriMo that I did, I actually I had a few what I call, as far as plotting, breadcrumbs. Just throw them out there, see if I can actually reach out to them as I'm going along. But the first time, I didn't do it intentionally, But I started pantsing and just letting going off of tangents, and I learned so much more about the characters and their
Mm.
interrelations with each other. And I don't think you can get that through plotting. You can't. There's just no way possible. I mean, there's going
Mm.
to be a lot that's going to be like thrown away, but if you didn't do your what I call writing homework, then um, it makes for a stronger story, you know. Um, Believe it or not, as far as I had that on my brain there for a second, but as far as Scribbler Society, that's how it started back in 2005. I did my first NaNoWriMo. I completed it. Yay! um, and the story just kept growing and growing from there. And a group of us, about a year and a half, somewhere. It's kind of gray area right there for me as far as timelines. And we started Scribbler Society. And what we would do was just out of the people that we had from that 2005 class in our area, we would meet up every Saturday and bring about 7 to 10 pages of our manuscript and had a couple printouts, and we would not necessarily for grammar or anything like that, but do the characters work? Does the scene work? Is the tension correct? Are you having enough descriptions about something or making something more clear? And that was the birth of Scribbler Society way back when. So we met over 10 years since back then. So it's been Scribbler Society has been a while, but I decided to bring it up online to not only share it with the same group but with other people. I don't believe writing should be in the closet anymore. To be frankly
Mm.
honest, and not to tell all of our stories or anything like that. You want to keep some things to yourself until it's published. But if you're having trouble figuring something about your story and you just want to talk some plot, what I call plot hole, talk about your plot holes basically,
Mm.
and talk with other fellow writers, up in the chat or even up online, and try to smooth those plot holes out so you can think through things and move
Mm.
forward, because if you don't put your butt in a chair, you're not going to get your writing done, you know? So
Yeah.
that's why we have the writing sprints, or if you don't have anything to
Mm.
write about, that's why we have the prompts.
Mm.
The story engine has agreed to let us share their cards up online. Of course, it promotes them. I'm really excited. They're actually coming out with Deck of Worlds here pretty soon, where it's world building cards basically, where you
Cool.
can create your
Nice.
own universes and so forth, and within different genres as well. So, which is really interesting. Looking forward to that.
That's
Um,
cool.
yeah. So, any other talking points you would like to talk about as far as your own writing, or?
Yeah, I was just gonna add to what you were saying with the like not writing in the closet kind of thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, that's something I've definitely found this last year through the conferences and meeting people there and
Mm-hmm.
talking to them afterwards and yeah, doing streams online and the other streamers in the Discords related to the streams. It's like there are yeah also like developmental editing and beta readers, and it's like there's
Most.
a whole community out there that it's I'm just trying to think of words.
Okay.
Like I can feel myself sharpening and getting better each time
Mm-hmm.
I talk to someone, each time I actually have someone else have a look at my work and
Mm-hmm.
give comments or yeah, any of that stuff. Like all of it kind of helps and encourages and inspires and like it's really cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure you get feedback from Wattpad. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
Yeah. I haven't had much yet. Like
Mm-hmm.
I very much like just random speck somewhere on the bottom. But like um yeah, there is the opportunity there to get a lot of that. And I can give it to others as well if I sit down and do it.
Okay. Okay. We'll give you a
um,
little bit more as far as me personally. Like I said, I'd rather write the first draft. I do everything up on the Remarkable, if you notice. Um, if you haven't heard about it, it's actually a tablet that doesn't have any other apps whatsoever. It just you just write, and the biggest feature that I got it for is none. It converts your handwriting to text, and then I email that to myself, and then I use, I don't know if you heard of the program called Scrivener,
Yeah.
and put it up in there and do all my text editing from there. I can create PDFs from there, actually bring it back into the Remarkable. So if I want to make any notes, I can just write over top of it and do it from there, which is really nice.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's my workflow basically. Um, but yeah, check it out. It's not cheap, but um, for my process, it's phenomenal. I don't have to trash paper all the time because writing takes up a lot of paper if you want to print it out and kill trees.
Yes.
But I mean,
I find, yeah, I need to do that for some of the editing because like I have to print it out to edit, and then it goes back on the computer again.
Yeah, and that's where the whole thing for me. I mean, if you want, I can actually share their little video. I need to throw up there that Remarkable is not a sponsor. And let me see if I can do this up here. Well, thank you for sharing that. You can still stay on the stream right here. Let me type in YouTube right here. Like I said, we're extremely laid back right here. Type in Remarkable. Attempt 2. And they actually, with the next version, I think I might, yeah, I'm in the Scribbler Society right here. That's the reason it's coming up like that right there. So let me put trailer. There we go. It should pop up after that. There we go. Click here.
This is a...
And of course, it's got to play commercials. So we'll get to play without audio there. They're not a paid sponsor also. I have to throw that up in there. But what part of the as far as location, where are you located at?
I'm in Australia.
Oh wow. So what time do you have all the way over there?
1 a.m.
No way. You're up that late? It's not. It's 9:04 a.m. here. So I guess you're on Monday, aren't you?
Yes. Now.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
In my head, it's like it's not counted until I sleep and wake up.
Well, hopefully you don't have to enlarge that right there. Have to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah, I do a lot of my work from home.
Okay. Well, let me share this real quick here, and just let me have your thoughts about it when it's done.
Paper is an exceptional tool for thinking. It lets your mind roam freely, without restrictions. It lets you focus, without distractions. But what if paper were given digital powers? Introducing the next generation paper tablet. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. Meet Remarkable 2. A revolutionary new way to take notes, read, and review documents with a paper feel never experienced before on a digital device. Now even faster, thinner,
and you see there's no delay also.
Smarter, and with 2 weeks of battery life.
Or how much you use it.
State-of-the-art components carefully arranged, and encased in a precision-machined aluminium frame enable an extremely compact assembly. Remarkable 2 is the world's thinnest tablet.
It's less than half
Our
my
unique
cell phone
paper-like
size.
display has been redesigned from the ground up, resulting in the second-generation Canvas display, now twice as fast as its predecessor. Millions of ink particles are precisely controlled for instant response and an unmatched writing experience. Traditional displays constantly radiate light through millions of luminous pixels. In contrast, the Canvas display simply reflects natural light, making it wonderfully gentle on the eyes. It even makes that familiar sound.
It's actually helpful on the battery.
Yeah.
Remarkable 2 brings digital powers to your notes and printouts without sacrificing the feel of paper. Convert your handwriting into text. No more typing up your meeting notes. Transfer PDFs and ebooks and write directly on the page. No more printing or carrying heavy documents. All your work is instantly synced to the cloud and readily available on your phone and laptop. With a completely new display technology and a beautiful paper-thin design, Remarkable 2 is the most advanced paper tablet ever, designed to make paper and thinking even better. In a world of social media, notifications, and pop-ups, we created Remarkable to help you focus. No distractions, just you and your thoughts. Remarkable. Better paper, better thinking.
Yep. So what do you think?
Nice. Yeah, I was seeing that. Like the light.
So let's say you have to
Sorry.
read.
between-
Here we go.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like how it was showing the difference between the like a normal tablet light and the Canvas
Mhm.
light or something, and I was like, yeah, because I know sometimes I have to stop typing on the computer because I'm like, oh, my eyes are starting to get too much, and I just need to write on paper. Does that?
Yeah.
I guess how does that work?
How does that work? Basically, if you're in a dark room, you're not going to see it. It's just like a piece of paper. So a lot of people complain it's kind of gray. It's not as bright as paper, um, and it's not backlit. But you knew that when you were getting into buying the device to begin with, or should have known. But yeah, just as long as you have a good overlay. I actually have a little light right here. I can actually show you on the writing sprint right here. I have a writing cam, so you can actually see if you look back on Twitch. I have a little writing cam, so you can see me write. That way, all the words you can't add. I mean, you can see them working, but you don't know exactly what I'm working on. Wink, wink, nod, nod. So, oh, that's kind of cool. I never thought that. It's actually got got you there right there. Way I've got the screen right there. I'm glad it shows that way. So, cool. Just learned something that I didn't even know about my own stream. Like I said, it's extremely laid back here. So, and as you can see, let me wake it up right here real quick. Got a little bit of text right here. As they said, you can take it, convert it. Does it pretty quickly. It's thinking.
What if it doesn't recognize a word that you've
It doesn't spell check at all. So, as you can see right there, it converted everything to text. It does recognize script writing if you wanted to, but I've always wrote my handwriting in print. Most likely, it recognizes it better if it's in print. Most likely, but it can, like I can see right, I can write my name right here. Let me just pull another page over here. You can write your name and do it in script. Can't write my own name. There we go. Hit convert text. And boom. It writes it all out. I mean, you can't see it on screen, but it wrote my name correctly, so you can trust me. So, but yeah, I mean, it's got different templates. You can actually see how I can do this. I can the desktop app. I'm pulling it up now. You can actually live share it here, which is really nice. Give a few seconds for this to pull up right here. And then I'll have to jump to this other screen while we're doing that. So, need to cut this one back on. Oh, that one needs to go back on. And then, there we go. And then we're going to, of course, it doesn't want to respond. But you can literally use this. Let me close the program, retry it. But, it's mainly because I got too much stuff going on right now.
Yes.
But you can actually,
Line of-
yeah, you can actually use this. So, say like your teacher or whatever in your classroom in your novel could use the Remarkable, and then actually you can do it through Wi-Fi, or you can do it through USB-C to USB, and link it up to the computer. And yeah, it's still trying to pull up. And right on the tablet, and it will show it up. Say like if you had a projector, it will show up on the projector, which is really nice. Or on the screen, I can actually do that here on the stream as well. And wherever you take the pen right here and place over top of it, and here we go. So let me share this real quick. Share screen. We want to share window. And here comes the Remarkable. Blammo. So as you can see on the StreamYard right there, there's the Remarkable. So, and then this is me trying to figure out what kind of, and now it says it doesn't want to respond. And let me jump over to what that's thinking right there. I thought I had it on this one right here. I guess we can go to this one right here and it'll be better. And that way we can see everything. There we go. Get back to the application. It's thinking's what it's doing right now. But literally, I mean, it puts like a red dot, like if you would put like a red pointer up onto a, the chalkboard or whatever that you were doing. It puts a red dot there, and say you were pointing at a certain topic. It's really nice. So imagine that. As I was talking, but yeah, I've shown it past streams right now. I'm just basically trying to do too much. You actually literally have to cut this thing on if you're going to do that before you cut all this other software on. And so on. Let me try it one more time right here. And let me just try to pull that up with the page here real quick. And, but yeah, I don't want to keep you up all night. I mean, you have to go to work sometime today, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm like, if I sleep between 2 and 9, I'm good.
Really? Okay. Well, at least you don't have to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. So.
That is true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell
Husband,
me.
on the other hand.
Husband, on the other hand. Oh, there you go.
yeah, he's got a 7 a.m. start.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he is sleeping.
So tell me about Australia.
I don't know. It's my home. I've had 4 seasons.
Yeah, 4
There's
seasons.
not much snow, which is.
It's right there. Was it coming up black there? That's quite odd. It's not supposed to be coming black. Oh well, I'll give up. So, but you get the point. So, there we go. Just close this out right here.
Pretty cool.
Yep. So, if you like handwriting, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And as far as you're writing anything like that, I mean, you're more than welcome to come up on the stream like this right here and write if you like. You don't have to show your work. Um, but as far as me, the reason I started streaming is that the very first story uh, that I came up with just became too big. It could easily, and not to blow smoke, it could easily be 8 novels. And
Nice.
for my first story, I'm going like, that's too much. Because the title of the first one's called Zachary Foster in Search of the Seventh Star. It's a fantasy novel
Mm.
set back during the medieval times. Um, it's the whole overarching story, cannot talk today, is the death and the rise and death of magic. So it's
Nice.
the whole I wouldn't say death, but you know, severely lamed. So,
That,
basically, what happened was is back in when Harry Potter's starting out, I actually watched the first movie, and I'm like, hmm, let's go get the book, you know, and read the book, fell in love, and I'm going like, that's interesting, you know. And then I actually found the book No Plot, No Problem, which we all know is the start of NaNoWriMo. And I found that back in 2004 when it was too late at the end of November, believe it or not. So you have 1 week to write 50,000 words, and that's not going to happen. So I thought about a story so much and meandered inside my head for about a year. And then when the next 2005 rolled around, started writing on that story. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. And
nice.
I actually had a friend of mine, and she read a little bit about it. And I was literally going to be starting as a mid-grade novel because I figured it'd be easier to write for kids than it would be for adults. So I did that, and then she said, it really doesn't pack any punch as far as drawing the writers in. I'm like, okay. Because I started with puffy little clouds going into the town and so forth, and you meet the character. It didn't really have um, um, any punch to it to draw that first hitter line. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
And and at the time, I was writing about pirates right before Pirates of the Caribbean, and all the Pirates of the Caribbean come out. I'm going like, I'm trying to write this Pirates of the Caribbean going on movie after movie after movie. I'm going like, okay, I'm so sick of pirates. It's not funny. At least it's died down. But then the story just got too daunting for me because it kept growing bigger and the universe kept getting bigger. Um, I mean, it's very reminiscent of J.K. Rowling's writing, but on steroids. Because I don't believe talking down to kids for one thing. Kids should be talked to as a person, not as a child. Because if you do that, then they don't respect you, and vice versa. So, just my
Mm.
philosophy. Just treat them like a person. Um, and came up with some other story ideas, procrastinated. So, after many a year, started streaming last year up on Twitch. I mean, we still kept, like I said, I still had enough material from that first novel, even though those, when we were meeting up to share with the group. So that was good. Yay. And got a lot of good feedback from them as well.
Mm.
And we can do that on Scribblers Society too. If you'd like to share some stuff and need feedback on, you're more welcome to do that as well. Um, but for me, like you, just starting right now, this is your first major novel, right?
Yeah, yeah, but I'm
Feels a little bit
publishing.
daunting, doesn't it? And you don't know where you fit at. Um,
Kind of.
I understand where you're coming from, and that's the whole reason I pulled this up on onto Twitch, because even though I want to write the Zachary story, I want to do it well.
Mm.
And to do it well, I don't have enough experience to write Zachary right now. In my opinion, I'm being harshly critical as far as my own skills and this and that and so forth. So I'm going like, well, what's the most generic story that you can come up with? Time travel. You know, and if you can come up with that and not necessarily, create cardboard characters, but if you can take I mean, because time travel is, I mean, there's nothing you can't write new about time travel. I mean, it's pretty much been done. But if you can make it entertaining and engaging and fun, then for people to like to read it, then you've done something. So that's the whole premise of the time travel story. Like I said, I have a main character uh, who is about to start two from nine, seventh grade. It's in between seventh grade and ninth grade. It's where the story picks up, because I learned from J.K. Rowling, if you're going to make a movie, it takes about 2 years. So if you're writing, you need to have your novel age with the kid within 2 years. So every book's going to be about 2 years of the life of the character. So if it does get turned into a trilogy, so the first book would be between the summer and the last year of middle school, and then book two would be freshman. And I don't know if they have, like freshman, sophomore, junior, senior over in Australia, because over in England they
It's just
don't, believe it or
numbers.
not. Exactly, you just have numbers. Yeah, there you go. So, and it took me a little while. I'm like, I had to do the math of that, because I had to scroll back. I'm like, I'm not that young, but I had to think back. How old was I back then, and then and so forth, and how that would work out. So, and I'm not trying to overplan as far as plot it either, because I just want to have. Here's the thing: when writing, you can have a bunch of cool points, which are plot points. That doesn't make a novel, unfortunately. So it's my process of actually literally finding right now, as far as up on Twitch, finding my process to write. Because as soon as you get your process, the words will become hopefully more easier.
Mhm.
It will flow a lot more better, and you can create more content, you
Mhm.
know? And that's what it's about. And that's what we're here for. And the stream also helps me stay accountable, because you want
Mhm.
to see your other writer friends up here, um, chat back and forth. I mean, we're still been here less than a year, and we've got 160 followers, which is kind of cool. They
Oh,
meander in back and forth, and so on. But yeah, you're more than welcome to hang around and hopefully join Scribbler Society. And if you need any help with your writing, I'm here. All right,
thanks.
no problem. Any final thoughts for yourself, as far as you like to leave
Um,
with your new fans coming towards your material, or if you want to talk about some of your older projects? I saw a few up there.
yeah. Oh yeah. So one of them, the defeating dragons, was
Let me go
I
ahead and
just found
pull.
that hilarious to
Let,
write.
let me
Um,
pull that up real quick.
that was this last NaNoWriMo's
Mm-hmm.
story, which I was actually so happy with myself because it's basically only the first draft, so it's still like kind of ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so happy I actually got like a full first draft that wasn't just like a Swiss cheese draft. That's what I called my old stuff. Because I used to always have brackets and be like, oh, there's a scene here about something, and then I just continue on. But I actually wrote like a full. There's kind of sections that aren't fleshed out because I have plans to make them kind of like math riddles are
Mm-hmm.
going to fit in there when I get back to it. And because I was writing it, there was a like a challenge on Wattpad, that had a deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still finishing like the last chapters on the last day, and I had like 3 minutes left, and I was like, I need to get my main character back home.
Wow.
So I had someone pick him up, run, and just throw him through the portal, and that was the end. And I was like, yep, I've finished my draft. Like,
I hear you.
I just find it hilarious, and I don't know if anyone else will understand, but like for me, it's like I actually finished a draft of a story. Like that's a big step in my where I'm going, like
I'm
in
sure.
my being able to do things. Because with my current story, because it's
Yeah, here we go.
I'm sort of going chapter by chapter, kind of
And which
figuring out
story was that one?
defeating dragons, the
Okay.
top one.
There we go. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So it's for a U10 student. So, gosh, I don't know what the equivalent is. So go U10, 11, 12 is the final year of high school. So yeah, so it's a U10 student. He goes to visit his uncle in Cooper Beatty, and the idea is that he's going to go look at opal mining. But very quickly, they fall into they find this like basically hidden laboratory, and there's an angel who throws him through a portal to this other world. And here's the fantasy bit. And so basically he goes to a Mayan, kind of based off Mayans, as if a group of Mayans were put into this other world like 900 years ago or something. And so they're now, when they lived in this world, they had to be changed. So these guys are kind of look like aliens. And then there's a group of Egyptians that were turned into mermaids, and then a group of Native Americans that were turned into elves.
I hear that.
This kind of
I'm hearing you like mermaids.
Apparently.
Nothing wrong in
Never thought I did, but
nothing wrong.
I'm finding that I'm writing them. I'm finding it interesting. I think it's also because of one of my friends wrote about them, but they were like kind of like scary cannibalistic fish.
Oh wow.
And I just found that like super interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, it's all good. Yeah, so because I want to, because I'm a math tutor by trade.
Okay.
This story, I end up kind of wanting it to be. Initially, I thought I was going to try and make like a textbook equivalent where you end up defeating a dragon at the end. And that's kind of like end of year, do you know all your stuff. I think because now I've written this draft, I'm like, oh, it might be sort of closer to something like Del Toro Quest, where it's just sort of a bunch of riddles along the way that you have to work out. And then because we have the internet and all the interactive things you can do with that, like it'll literally be the kids typing in the questions and stuff, and they have to actually get the right answer to go on.
Nice.
It's the idea at the moment. Yeah, so as they go through, basically he gets put into that world because he has to tell them that the dragon there is trying to get back to Earth. Because the reason why they were taken from their village all those years ago was so that they could stop, so they could seal the dragon. So in this case, that's the Quetzalcoatl or Kukulkan. I probably didn't pronounce that right at all, but anyways. The feathered serpent dragon. They've got him sealed in a mountain. But this story is there. So the scientist back in Australia has been working on a metal dragon that he's then going to switch the two dragons so that the feather serpent can come back to Earth and just cause havoc or whatever he wants to do.
No.
So the kids kind of gone to the other side to tell them, this is going to happen. We need to stop it. And so they end up going through a bunch of different things. With eventually there'll be maths quests along the way, and then at the end they sort of fight this dragon and reseal him.
Wow. And is that one already completed?
So draft 1 is complete.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, so.
All right, let me scroll down here real quick. And tell me about the true purpose of Cinderella's dress.
Yes, so that is just a short story, so just a single chapter. That was fun to do because that was another Wattpad challenge. Was like, and that's why I like Wattpad, because there's a bunch of different challenges on there, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll test my writing. So this one was I think they specifically gave you the fairy godmother, and they said write a story or a short story of rewritten of Cinderella as if the fairy godmother is the villain.
Oh.
And so that was the prompt we had to go off.
That's interesting.
And so my take on it was that basically the fairy godmother's kind of like an alchemist, magical. She's not really a fairy godmother, but she makes magical or magic items, and she sells them to like the underworld and whoever whatever parties will pay for whatever she makes. But she needed a secret space to make this stuff, and so Cinderella's mother gave her that space, provided that she looks after Cinderella until she finds a good man. And so it was a little bit up to the fairy godmother to what she considers a good man, which was basically someone who doesn't have any dealings with her. Just as far as she got. And so the prince had no dealings with her. His parents did, but so the idea of this one is that the dress itself is because the dress in Cinderella's story at 12 o'clock it vanishes. So I took that idea and I was like, oh well, what if it's like a stealth item? So if they go do something like it could be turned into a dagger or something that if you need to assassinate someone, the evidence will disappear. So she gave the dress to Cinderella as like a look at this item that's going to be available.
That's an interesting take. I like that. And if I didn't read, if I'm not reading that correctly, does that say winner? Did you win some kind of award there?
Yes, I won that sticker.
Well, there you go. We have a award-winning writer here up on Scribbler Society. You need to put that in your credits. Do not shy away from that. Okay. So, very cool. All right. Let's see what else we got here. And are these your stories down here as well?
No, they're other people's stories.
Gotcha. Okay.
I've just put on my list.
Very, very cool. So what's your let's go back here. What is there you go. So I'm gonna try to get these two right here. So let's start, since we were just recently talking about the true purpose of Cinderella's dress right there. What is your favorite line from that story?
I can't remember it. I think the last line. I always love those like kind of punchy lines at the end that are like, it's not exactly what you thought, but here it is. And I think it was about the prince's mother being a part of or them going to start a war or something. I can't quite remember, but I enjoyed it. I remember enjoying writing it.
Okay. So, and maybe your favorite line from the current project that you're working on right now. Let me scroll up so we can see the title, which is The Adventures of a Magical Teacher.
Yeah. This one, like chapter 1 was done so long ago, but it's when she first gets the kids in the classroom.
I'm gonna pause my mic here real quick and just cough. Sorry about that.
No worries. So the thing I remember most, probably because it's something I recently-ish, in last year, edited, was talking about the synesthesia of my teacher, and just as she, I think just her, as she reacts to seeing the colors of the kids coming into the school. Yeah. I can't remember what the line was, but
That's
I just
okay.
remember she was at the window and doing something, and then every time it was something like every time she saw a different colored magic core, she'd like get that kind of tense excitement.
Yeah. One of the favorite lines of that first story I was talking about from Zachary Foster. Actually, literally, I mean, me personally, and my wife doesn't see it, is that Zachary Foster, the story I want to write, is fanfic.
Yeah.
To be of Harry Potter. Because I'm basing characters of other characters. She says she doesn't see it. I'm going like, what's a name that sounds like Harry? That's close to Harry, but it's not Harry. Zachary. And I'm going like, what sounds like Potter? And I'm going like, that really took me a long time. And it really did. And I was sitting there watching some TV, and a Foster's beer commercial came on. Believe it or not, that's how he got his last name, is by beer. So, sounds very guy-like, but yeah. So Foster and Potter says Zachary Foster is how he got. That's how I derived his name. And another thing I was thinking about doing at the time was, I don't know if you're familiar with Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. He based it's an allegory on basically the book of Genesis. And I thought about doing something allegorical as far as the book of Revelation. So, a little bit different type of story. And I do still have some elements about that within the story that's going to develop over time. But,
That's cool.
yep. Like I said, I first originally was going to do it as a mid-grade novel. And after talking to my friend, it didn't have enough punch. So when I delve into it, it wasn't a mid-grade novel no more. So some may say adult, but I'm trying to keep it young adult, basically. I think young adult pretty much is adult anymore nowadays because it's become so much
There's so
mainstream.
much that does.
So
Yeah, I
much
mean, that's something I
mainstream.
talked about last year with my novel. Was I was going to do it young adult, but now I'm looking at new adult, which is almost so similar, but I think the slight differences work better for my story when I'm coming from the teacher's perspective.
But my favorite line from Zachary Foster is in chapter 2.
Yeah.
And he's not the main bad character. We kind of coined the term in Scribble Societies, but way back in the day is because I didn't have the name for the bad character, and so we called him RBD, really bad dude. So he's the main RBD. So yeah, that's a technical term we came up with. But I eventually called him Mule Rat. And basically, it's mule rat. Basically, is what how I came with that. Mule plus rat comes out mule rat. So he is a ex-pirate, extremely old individual. He has wooden teeth that are half rotted. Yeah, I'm very descriptive. I've come from a graphics background. I got a commercial art and studio art degree. So 2 separate 4-year degrees there. So that's another reason I like to write my first draft on paper first, because I'm so connected with drawing and painting and so forth. I'm more creative that way. Keyboard doesn't just do it for me. Editing, I'm fine. I can edit all day long. But as far as an initial draft, I just don't feel in the moment, basically. And to get back to the my favorite line is, and pardon my, because it's set in England, so pardon my bad English accent here. It says, but the RBD, the really bad dude, has the main character down on his back, and he has his knee pressed down on his chest, keeping him down, and he has a black chinked knife pressed up hard against his eye. He says, "Have you ever gorged on human flesh, boy? The best and most delectable are the eyes. Pop one out and chuck it into your mouth and bite down hard. It pops like a ripe tomato and tastes like warm custard, it does." And then he gives a little bad, yeah. It's not meant for kids. And everybody cringes. I'm like, I just watch people's eyebrows. I actually had a 10-year-old read this, which is mid-grade. He was terrified because I had some other stuff going on there and so forth. So I don't know if you like that. I mean, it's very boyish, of course. It's not very girlish. I got like what I call a harmonic character on there. I've got another guy that's kind of like a run, so it's going to be a trio. But at the time, I thought it would be interesting to have wizards and pirates in the same universe. You know,
Nice. Nice.
pirates are not going to be throughout the whole 8-book series. No, they're just a mode of For me, they're just a mode of transportation. You know, with some interesting characters and so forth. There's a character called Nair. You know what the crow's nest is, right, on a pirate ship?
Yeah.
So you have a guy up there on the lookout, basically where the flag is. Well, the character's called Nair, and it's he's a character that's kind of like lost it because he's pretty much alone all the time up there. So, and there was a point where he had they didn't have much food, so he kind of cut out this section through here, so he's constantly smiling, and that's how he survived one of the long phases of where they didn't have enough food. There's huge ship battle scenes. There's volcanoes, and that's the first novel. So,
Nice.
but basically, there's these things called stars that contain magical powers, in which they're released. Releases magic back into the world because it was captured, basically. And it's like I said, this is a daunting task. It has 8 magical systems. Not just one, not 2, but 8, and they can commingle with it, and they can commingle with each other.
Oh, wow.
So there's a character there is called the Intercessor that prevented the really main RBD. I haven't still got a name for him yet. And right now he is a collection of 6 heads hovering over a pool of water.
Oh.
And as each star is captured or brought back, into being, one of those heads shrinks and goes away and becomes the character as they were before. And they're tracking down Zachary. And you've got the queen, you've got the church, all the politics. It's not a kid's novel. So yeah, it just exploded. And to house all of that for your first project? No. Can you understand now? I've got, it's a cast as big or even bigger than Harry Potter, because you have the Wizards Council, you've got all the RBDs, I'm going like, what would be really cool if, okay, magic died, for most people's eyes, it died. What happens, and how would you reimagine if it came back again, and what characters would look like differently? Because they wouldn't look like the same as they were before. So the whole creative explosion there, what does a unicorn really look like after it's gone away and came back again, It doesn't have to come back the same, right? so it can be reimagined for another whole universe.
Nice.
And then you've got 8 dominions that Zachary's going to have to find these other stars. So yeah, it's not a first project. You agree? So, but yeah. And then I've got another story that I came up with is the first historic horror romance novel. And I don't consider Pride and Prejudice a horror romance novel. It's just a prodigy. Has those elements, but it's poking fun. I'm sorry. And then, of course, I've got the time travel story. I've got one story that I would like to actually consider literature. Because, to be frankly honest, I'm writing for fun. I'm writing commercial fiction. You know? I mean, everybody wants to make money in this, and I'm not doing it for the money, but you have to position yourself where you're marketable. And that's where my commercial art degree kicks in. And you have to be marketable, people. You have to have something of value for them to want. And literary people are like, that's just, you're out for the money. And well, yeah, but I want to have fun. I don't want to be stuffy. My wife's going to hate me. I'm not going to be Tolkien. Yes, he has beautiful words. He's long-winded. That's probably going to be like on some people, but I mean, I love Lord of the Rings, but he was long-winded. I'm more of the Brandon Sanderson, straight to the point, and one thing I love about Brandon Sanderson's style, he doesn't pontificate. I know that's a huge word, but it's exactly what way to describe it. But he's not. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to read him to understand, and I think you do. So, well, listen. I know it's getting super late. It's probably getting close to 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock for you.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I'm actually going to later on make a snippet of this. Of this interview. Please check out Tara here on Wattpad. The link's up into the chat. Just scrub back if you need to see her link, type it in, and give her a read. And if it's okay with you, I'll post this up in Twitch and on YouTube if you like, and so people can find you. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, I recently started streaming too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only been about nearly 2 months.
There you go. Well, throw up your. Are you doing it up on Twitch or YouTube?
Yeah, on Twitch. Yeah.
Throw up your credentials up into the chat so we can go follow you. My watch is reminding me I need to get 250 more steps in an hour. And did I hear correctly? You're a math tutor?
Yes.
I actually did that in college to make money.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, back in the 80s, making $15 an hour wasn't bad money. It was really cool too. There was a guy that he was trying to pass his GED, and he needed the algebra portion part of it, and he was in his mid 60s at the time. So I kind of helped him pass his math, and slightly kind of proud of that. And
Well, that's cool.
I probably should have became a math teacher, still getting into art, but. Well, listen, everybody, I'm actually going to head out right now. It's getting close to 10 o'clock for me here, a.m. Sunday. Sorry about that, Tara. But
Actually, it's been fun.
Actually, next week, as come Monday, I'm going to have my first vacation that I had for a long time. So I'll be off from Wednesday until the next following Wednesday. I have to go back and work the next following Wednesday after that. But hopefully I'll be up here online during the daytime as well. Of course, 6:30 at night, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I don't know what time Eastern Standard Time for that would be. Too much math involved right now. But I'll share this up here for you, and it's fun. See, do you know anybody that you would like to raid right now? I usually like to give people, as far as writers,
Um,
if you know anybody that I haven't seen yet. Let me see if I can find that tab here real quick. Yeah, it won't be up on this page right here. Let's see what they're up to. There's one writer up right now on my list that's going on. Let's see if they're ready. Of course, they have to play that silly ad on Twitch to see what they're up to.
yeah.
I'm sure it does the same thing for me.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen him in a while. It's author Brian Liu here. Give him a raid, and make sure you give him a follow. Make sure you give him a shout out when you get on there, and but I really do appreciate having you on the stream, Tara.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Not a